We've got a Sanyo M1540A in the original box, such as it is. Here's the owner's manual. Ooh, this looks like battery acid leaked onto the paper here. Perfect fit. Warranty card. And there it is. The Sanyo M1540 is the very one that Commodore used in the first PET 2001 computers in 1977. Here's a look at the original box. It's had some damage to it, but not bad considering its age. The box has a serial number on it. Let's see if the serial number matches. Here's the serial number inside the unit. 77666-487. So we've got a matching serial number. We have the owner's manual. Not a lot to this. And a service manual. Adjustment of flywheel plate, head azimuth adjustment, pinch roller adjustment, head position adjustment. Parts list. And schematic. I was able to salvage some of this, but the paper here is very brittle from the acid. The section here that's missing says external speaker or earphone. External speaker and earphone are optional extras. Both the warranty card and the service manual have a date of 1975. So this unit may not have been made in 75, but that's probably the year they were first released. We've got a 6-volt DC adapter here. Sanyo branded. We'll check the voltage on that in a bit. Let's check the unit for damage. Handle's intact. I looked under the battery cover earlier to see the serial number, and it does look like the foam in here has been damaged. Leaky battery. There's some corrosion on this battery terminal here, but that's easily cleanable, and overall the battery compartment looks very good. The bottom of the unit looks fine. Nothing's obviously broken. Just needs a little cleaning. We'll do a full disassembly and cleaning on this, perhaps a complete rebuild, and I'll document the disassembly and reassembly process as I go. And afterwards I will open up the Commodore and compare the internal and external features. The screw posts are intact. I don't see any cracked or damaged plastic from shipment or from anything else. The belt is a little out of shape but intact. I'm going to go ahead and remove the electronics so I can get at the mechanicals under here, and so I can clean the case. Taking a lot of close-up photos so I know exactly what wire goes where when I go to put it back together. Pre-disassembly photos will also help you remember what screws go back where. Not much to it actually. There's a chip right there. It's probably nothing more than a couple of amplifiers. Transistor here. Volume control. Here's a look at some of the mechanicals in here. There's a secondary belt right here that's responsible for the rewind function. There's a gear here that on my Commodore unit was completely seized up, but this one seems to be moving just fine. Let's see, this is fast forward. Fast forward engages that gear. And rewind does not. Rewind pushes up this and engages this gear, which is driven by that belt. The fast forward function, where is that? What is that, play or that's play? There's fast forward. There's no, notice here, there's no latch for the fast forward function. For play, it latches. For rewind, it latches. For fast forward, there's no notch here. We have 3 sets of wires here. I'm assuming the 2 wires are for the erase head, and then one of these 3 conductors is for the read-write or playback record head, and the other one is for the condenser mic. To remove the assembly from the plastic, there's a couple of screws up front here. This screw is a bit longer than the other one, and then we're going to take these 2 right here. We go. This part here is the record protect notch sensor. I'm going to go ahead and remove this because I also want to take out the door assembly. Washer there. The door pivots right here. Should be able to pry that off the hinge on one side. And the other is going to be a little bit more difficult. There we go. Here's the transport assembly, and it's in surprisingly clean condition. The grease that's in there has not hardened. Pinch roller looks good. There's not really any dust or fibers in here. So I may not end up doing a complete teardown and rebuild on it after all. I'll go ahead and take the retainer off here. This has a little piece of Delrin or some other kind of smooth, slick plastic. And this has a polished dome type tip here for the capstan to spin on. The flywheel and capstan will just lift straight out, but be careful of losing this little washer. There's a belt here. This is the rewind belt. Don't want to lose that. Removing and replacing the rewind belt can't really be done easily without taking it apart this far. This wheel is, this is a rivet right here, so you can't get it off this shaft without bringing it around the top side. Now we should be able to get the belt over and under through here and take it out this way. There's a kind of a clutch on the take-up wheel so that when it's in play and it reaches the end of the tape, you don't want it to have enough torque to actually break the tape. And when you are rewinding, you actually don't want it to have any resistance at all. There's a lever right here that when we press play, this comes out of the way and pushes down on this clutch so that these two wheels, this gear and this gear, are moving together. Press stop, this gets raised up, releasing the clutch, and now these two can move with no resistance, independent of each other. You can feel the increase in torque here when it's in this position. This screw right here is the torque adjustment. I gave the case plastic a thorough wash, being careful not to damage the serial number sticker or get the microphone wet. Got rid of all of the battery acid that was on the battery cover door and used a wire brush to scrub the corrosion off of this battery contact spring here. So now I'll start putting the door back on and some of the other pieces back together on the case plastic. Pop the door back in here. See if I can't get it back where it belongs. There it is. And I'll push up here where the eject button pushes. Spring pushes it open there. Spring right here. There's a little catch. I'll try to put this back on here. Well, this thing is actually pretty clean, the mechanical assembly. Much better condition, in fact, than the one in my PET 2001. This gear is spinning perfectly freely. These pulleys are fine. The lube, there's no dust or grime, nothing seized up. So one thing I do need to do is to clean the pulleys here. The old belt residue in here will actually, or from what I've read, the old belt residue in here can degrade the other belts, a new belt. So I'm going to clean these pulleys, and I am going to take the capstan or the pinch roller off so that I can thoroughly clean that with soap and water. And I may remove this take-up spool here just to take a look at the clutch. Be very careful with these. Very easy to go flying and lose them. Just underneath this E-clip is another piece that you don't want to lose. This is a vinyl washer. Now, the take-up should come off, and underneath you can see a felt clutch. This is designed to put pressure against this to cause it to spin, and then release that pressure by removing the pressure on this spring so that this can spin freely for a rewind. They might make a tool for this, but I've always just done it the hard way. So I gave the pinch roller a good cleaning with soap and water and an old toothbrush. Sits down there. And it should go just like that. Let's play. There it is. I got the belt pulleys clean. Cleaned up the recesses in the keys. Ready to start reassembling, I think. Now, before I put the transport back into the chassis, I need to put the belt on the... What is this? This is the rewind wheel. I have here an SCQ 8.0. It's an 8-inch belt. I'm hoping it's the right size. It might be a little bit too big. So let's see if I can't get this on. This through here. This up here. Under here. Goes just like that. Around these two and around the capstan pulley. Now I can put the transport back in. This longer screw goes on this side. Shorter one on this side. This spring back up. And now I suppose it's time to put the electronics back in. Loader goes over here. A little pin on the bottom of this one goes in that hole, and the screw goes in that hole. This is play, this is rewind. This is the erase head. The white wire goes over here. And the blue wire goes here. I get my head in here with my magnifier. Yeah. Capstan back on. Cleaned the pulleys here. This this belt goes into this groove here. Get this up on that. Next up, the new drive belt, an SCX 9.5. Next is the capstan retainer. This goes on here to keep the capstan from falling out. The screw slightly close and then wiggle it a little bit until these little detents line up with the hole. Snug it down. Let's see if there's any play. No, it's not moving any. There's this final ring that goes on the capstan here. I have to push it down. It's really snug. I believe this is just here to keep debris from getting into the channel there. Almost forgot about one more wire. It's a ground wire that solders on right here. I'm not sure why. This just grounds it to the transport chassis. We still have the battery compartment wires to solder on there, but I want to do some testing first before I put it all back together. Go ahead and check the power supply and try powering this up from the AC adapter. We measured 8.7 volts, 8.8 volts from the AC adapter with no load. It's supposed to be 6 volts. Under load, let's see what we're getting. 6.3 volts. Seems close enough. Here's the rewind in action. Main motor is driving the capstan pulley, and that pulley is driving the rewind pulley. See if it works. Try to fast forward. Yep, that works. Let it rewind. Yep, that works. Let's see how it sounds on playback. Can't play too much of that because of content ID. Seems to be okay. Go ahead and reconnect the battery wires. Carry handle back in there. The top back on. Couple of screws up front here. So how does it record? Let's find out. Past the leader now. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Tap, tap, tap. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Past the leader now. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is a test. 1, 2, 3. Sounds like the microphone's picking up motor noise, but other than that, it seems to be working okay.